Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Antonio Neves. I'm the director of higher education for about.me. Welcome to About Me Live, where we get to talk to people from the millions and millions of users of about.me all across the world about things that are happening in their world. And right now, I'm extremely excited to have Lewis House here, about.me/Lewis House. If you're not familiar with this man's work, you're going to learn all about it over the course of the next 30 minutes. I'm happy to have Lewis here for a variety of reasons. This guy right here, I'm honored to say, is a friend. I listen to his podcast. I watch his videos. I've been familiar with his work for so long. And what's really amazing is, boom, this right here. This book came out recently, The School of Greatness. When I say recently, yesterday. Of course, there's a podcast that gets like 1 million downloads a month that's out as well. But enough of me talking. Lewis Howes, thank you for joining me for About Me Live.
What's up, brother? Good to see you this last weekend as well at the launch party. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you in LA. I know right now you're in New York City where you had a launch party last night. So first, for the folks, we'll get in the background of the book and your backstory, et cetera, but just give me a lay of the land of your past, let's say 72 hours. Your first book came out yesterday. Man. Tell me about it.
Dude, I'll tell you what, 8 years ago, I had a dream. I had a dream to write a book of this magnitude, of this energy and the essence of this book, but I wasn't ready back then to put this type of content out. I didn't have the results, the evidence to really back it up. And 8 years later, building businesses, selling companies, advising companies, interviewing some of the most inspiring people in the world, which I know you do as well, I learned a lot of these key lessons along the way. And so I wanted to share with the world the lessons I've learned. And the last 48 hours have been nuts because the book came out yesterday, 27th of October, and I decided to do a little Periscope session earlier in the day and say, hey, guys, for anyone who's in New York, come meet me at Union Square, Barnes & Noble, and I'll see my book for the first time in the wild. Like, you'll see me see it, right? I'd had the copy a few weeks prior because I got an advance copy, but I never see my book in stores. And for years, literally years before, I would go into Barnes & Noble almost every week, sometimes twice a week, and visualize my book with my cover right there front and center. So now was the time to see this dream like actually be real and see it in the real world. And I love to bring things full circle. I love to create opportunities for myself to say, okay, I had a dream about something, I visualized something, and then years later it actually came true, and now I'm witnessing it. So I videotaped the whole thing. There was like a big crew there who was watching, who were supporting, and it was nuts. It was just like the coolest experience. We sold out in a second because they only had like 10 copies or something. And then I've just been doing so much press all day yesterday. I was running around the city doing press. I had my launch party last night, so 350 people showed up, and I was there for 5 hours hugging each person, just saying hi and listening to their stories about how the podcast has changed their life. And again, it's not about me. It's about the people that I bring on the podcast and what I'm able to get out of them to share to everyone. And they're telling me about the stories of each different episode that's really helped them. And so for me, it's been an awesome experience. I got done last night and there was like 70 text messages in my phone from like everyone from the whole day saying congrats. So I've been getting back to everyone now and doing all the other press today. And now I'm with you.
That's beautiful, man. Tell me this: what has been the feedback so far you're hearing from people about this book? Of course, for years, one thing you've been doing is getting out free content, right?
Yes.
You from your blog post to your podcast, The School of Greatness, to e-courses, to webinars. I can go on and on and on about the things you've given away to people at no cost, right? What's the feedback you've heard so far based on Amazon and your book being number one, like in self-help? You're getting, I'm guessing, excellent feedback.
Yeah, right now it's, let me see what it is. It was number 27 overall in all books in the world. It's number 28 right now. But number one in success, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. And it's been amazing, because some people got advanced copies, so I've been able to get great feedback. Other people bought the copy yesterday, literally in the morning, came to the event last night, and was like, one guy was like, I finished the whole book, showed me all of his notes, like everything was scribbled out, like everything was highlighted. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So the feedback's been great. And it's really cool to see it come to fruition.
Beautiful. So we have some people going to submit some questions they have right here. If you do have a question, all you got to do is put in / question, and you can write your question right then and there. Lewis, looks like we may have a frozen screen from you, but we're going to keep going ahead. There you are. In your book, you break down like I guess what you call 8 master lessons. We're not going to be able to get into all of these with the 25 minutes we have remaining, but I want to talk about a few of those. And the first one I want to talk about, Lewis, is vision, because you talk about this right in the beginning of the book, and at the beginning of this, you talk about how you had this vision of walking into a bookstore and seeing a book there. So for folks who don't get what visioning is, how would you describe it? Is it just that mood board they put on their wall? But what is a strong vision, and how do you develop that?
A vision is a dream that you want to see come true. And the thing is, most people don't dream enough. They don't visualize, they don't see in their mind what they want. And a lot of times because there's no evidence that they can have it. And so for me, years ago, there was no evidence that I was going to be able to do this book. There was no evidence I was going to get off my sister's couch. There was no evidence I would be able to make money. I didn't have a college degree. There wasn't any evidence that I would be able to create what I wanted 8 years later. But I had a vision. So I said, one day I want to do this. And I got very clear on when I wanted to do it and why I wanted to do it. And through that, I was able to get a lot of mentors. It's one thing to have a dream or to have a vision about what you want. This could be a vision for like the next month. This could be a vision for the next year. I want to lose 10 pounds. That could be your vision. It could be, I want to get into a great relationship and start thinking about what that actually looks like and what that person looks like. But most people don't have a clear vision. They're chasing all these different things, or they're just like, I don't know what I'm passionate about, or I don't know what I want to do. And if you don't know, then it's pretty hard to get to the results you want when you don't even know what it is. So the first things first, the people I've interviewed, myself in sports and business, I know when I get the results that I want, it's because I have a clear vision on those first. They don't just happen on accident. I don't just wake up and then I get results in my life, and I don't just make money and build a business and these things. It's done on purpose. So you want to have a purposeful vision first for everything in your life, for how you want to feel, your relationships, your health, your finances, your career, all those things. And I talk about writing them down. So people do, vision boards and mood boards, like you said, and that's cool. You can do that for sure. I think it's great to remind yourself, to see something and then remind yourself, that's what my vision is. That's what I'm committed to. That's what I'm up to today. I like writing it down as well. And then there's something that happens when you write down your vision. And what I do is I frame my goal. I'll put my goal down as if it's already happened 6 months, a year down the line. I'll sign it with the date on that date, like it's already happened then. And then I see it every single day, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, what is the step I need to take today that's going to get me closer to that result? And that's vision.
Beautiful. And what's fascinating about this book, and I think what makes it separate from other books, if you want to say in a similar space, Lewis, is that, I don't consider you a motivational guy. You are a motivational guy. You're an inspirational guy, but I really consider you more so an action-oriented guy. Yeah, you can get somebody hyped up and they want to punch a brick wall, but that's no good, right? If you don't have steps to take. And what's amazing about the book, as you just pointed up right now, is that you have action plans basically at the end of each chapter. So what was your goal with not only providing great stories of people you've interviewed, but you go from there to, okay, now here are the steps you can take.
Yeah, for me, I love getting inspired. I love a great sports movie where I can cry or be inspired and go out and take action. I like, good books. I like that inspire me, podcasts that inspire me. But for me, as a former athlete and still really an athlete, I know that I need more than just inspiration, and we need more than just motivation. That can get us started, but it's not going to keep us consistent over the 8 years of the grind and the struggle and the adversity that's going to come our way. So with adversity, that's going to happen no matter what. You've got to have the game plan that's going to follow through. And so for me, I created these exercises and action plans at the end of each chapter to guide you through when the adversity comes your way, or when you need support, or when you need to reevaluate something. You get to follow through the exercise and then get you going forward again.
Great. Let's take a question real quick that's coming out right now. And I'm asking this because you have the shirt on right now that says handball. Then we'll come back to some of the points of the book. A lot of people don't know this, but maybe you can tell a bit more about how you got involved in handball. But the question from Sean Puri is, do you think handball will get as popular here in the States as it is overseas? And dude, you're like on the U.S. handball team. You'd never played that game before in your life, and you made the U.S. team. So first, will it get as popular here than as it is abroad? But also, how did you get on the team?
It will get as popular, if not more popular, in the States as it is over abroad, if someone has a powerful enough vision to make it come true. And so again, everything comes from vision. It won't get popular unless someone or a group of people or an army of people aren't committed to the vision of creating that possibility. That means creating a professional league, bringing TV on board, bringing in great players from Europe and bringing them here and creating that buzz around it. And it's probably going to take a decade once you start that process to really build the momentum, build the grassroots in the kids programs to build it up. So it is popular when they can become competitive at the world level. So it could happen. It's just going to take someone with a lot of money to make that happen. How did I get involved? I got involved in 2008. I was injured on my sister's couch. I just got a surgery on my wrist playing arena football, and I had to be in a cast for 6 months. I had surgery right here. And after I got my cast off, I was kind of down and out. I was like, what am I going to do next in my life? I was in the transition. And I watched the Olympics in Beijing on TV. And one night there was a sport playing called team handball. And I watched these highlights and I was blown away at these athletes and the movement and the skills that they had. I was just like, this is my shot. This is where I'm going to go play in the Olympics, because I always had a dream to play in the Olympics. And I saw the sport and I was like, this is the sport I was born to play. So I said, one day I'm going to be on the USA national team and play in the Olympics. I don't know how I'm going to do this because I'm broke on my sister's couch. I'm still injured, recovering. But I did research and I saw that there was club teams, amateur club teams all around the U.S. And the national champion club team was in New York City at the time. So I was like, okay, when I make enough money, I'm going to move to New York City and then make the New York team and then go make on the USA national team. 2 years later, I started making a lot of money and my business finally started to take off. And I was like, all right, I'm off to New York to try this thing out because I'm going to regret it if I don't go and at least give myself a chance. After I moved to New York, 9 months later, I made the USA national team. I trained every week with the team here. I mean, I was a man on a mission, right? I had a vision. I was very clear, very purposeful in my intention, my actions every day were taking.
Lewis, I'm sorry to stop you. Check your connection real quick on your microphone. Make sure that's in okay. We're just getting a little bit of static.
Okay. It's funny because I get static when you talk too.
Interesting.
Let me see this.
Someone just wrote, is there a cell phone near the computer? But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted as you were talking about your journey with handball.
Hey guys, looks like we have some sound issues. So how about both of you just refresh in the browser and hopefully we'll be good to go.
Let's refresh.
Hopefully this works, guys.
Is this better?
Wait, do a little test for me.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, let's get Antonio back in here.
Should I continue along?
Yeah, let's get his video up and running. Yeah, Antonio, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to hop out.
Technology, Lewis, it happens. Go for it, man. Continue on.
Yeah, so I moved to New York City, and 9 months later, after training my face off every week, I made the USA national team. We didn't qualify for the Olympics in 2012, so I went to go watch the Olympics in 2012 in London. But I played in a couple international games at that point, so I got to play against Argentina, who was in the Olympics, so I got to watch guys that I played against in the Olympics. And then I've been training and playing for the last 4 years with the team, and we did not qualify a few months back ago for the Olympics this coming year for the qualifier. So now I'm just reevaluating. Do I want to keep training and keep playing for another 4 years to give myself a chance? I'm kind of undecided right now because this book is my kind of Olympics. This is really my Olympics right now. So I'm putting all my energy into this for the moment.
Beautiful. I love how you frame it as this book being your Olympics, and with the efforts you put forward so far, man, it definitely is. Something else you talk about with the master lessons in the book is going through adversity. And obviously, with your story, you've gone through a lot of adversity in your life. And there's a great question that just came in, and this is from Mike Baltus. And Mike asked, Lewis, you've openly spoke about your inability to read at a pace and level that you wanted. If I'm correct, Lewis, you've mentioned previously that you have dyslexia. Mike goes on to ask, how was authoring a book frustrating as well, or rewarding?
It's interesting because although I struggled with reading and writing, and I'm still, I've gotten a lot better over the last 10 years because I practice constantly. I'm constantly writing articles. I'm constantly reading a lot. I have to read quickly to get through content. But authoring was great because it was challenging in its own ways because I'm not the most talented writer. But one of the things that I do know is that I can create anything incredible if I have the right team. So I have the right agent. I have the right publisher. I've got the right editors. I've got a couple people that helped me with the writing. I would write with people, and it was this process of back and forth and editing. And it probably wasn't as easy for me because I had all these other people that I was working with trying to support me, but it made it way better of a book than I could have written it by myself. So I have this entire team that's really supporting me. And I think that's what gets a lot of us hung up sometimes is when we try to do everything on our own, when we're like, well, it's just got to be my way and I'm going to do everything on my own. That's going to take a lot more time. That's going to take a lot more energy. And so I'd rather attract the best people in the business for anything I'm doing and create it. And what I like about the book, it's been really fun, is because I'm really good at packaging ideas and putting ideas together and then creating those ideas. I've had a lot of practice with that. So for me, I really enjoyed it, even though I struggle with reading and writing sometimes.
Beautiful. And hey, if you're just joining us right now, this is About Me Live. Joining us is Lewis Howes. This guy's an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's an author of a brand new book, The School of Greatness. So thank you for tuning in right now. And Lewis, you were just talking about, of course, of surrounding yourself with good people and having a team. And you have a chapter in the book that talks about building a winning team and having mentors. And it's not always just about business, surrounding yourself with allies, people that indeed make you better, that help you achieve greatness. We have another question coming in from Devin McKell, and he says, do you feel that every entrepreneur can gain from collaboration with other creatives, regardless of the industry or idea that they're working on?
Absolutely. I'm all about collaboration. I mean, I look at, if I were to say a couple things have been like my success over the years in business and a lot of things, is that I've collaborated with so many different people. I've got affiliates. I've got partners. This book right now would not be a success without all the partners that I've collaborated with. My podcast is essentially a collaboration of supporting other people, promoting their message, their books, their programs. And then in return, I've got 200 people I've interviewed who are collaborating back with me and promoting me right now and supporting me when I need something. So I'm all about the collaboration. I look at brilliant musicians, what's his name? Pitbull. All he does is collaborations, and he works with the biggest artists, and then he attracts all of their fans one song at a time. He attracts their fans to build him into this huge worldwide sensation when 5 years ago he was unknown. So I think collaboration is important and valuable in creatives and in many industries.
Gotcha. Thank you for that question, Devin. I believe Devin's a student in the state of Indiana, Indiana State University. Let's talk about adversity again, something you cover in the book. And I remember reading Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is a Way, which you reference in your book. I'm really curious. At some point, of course, you were a collegiate athlete. You were an All-American. You're playing professional football until you had that devastating injury that kind of ended that career. At some point, you're basically homeless, living at your sister's couch, and things weren't going the way you wanted them to go, Lewis. I'm curious if Lewis Howes would be who Lewis Howes is today if that major surgery, that major injury happened to your wrist. If you would have been able to keep playing professional sports and excelling at a high level, would this have even have happened if that adversity didn't hit you?
This specifically wouldn't be happening. I always wonder about this. Like, if I would have stayed healthy, how much more would I have played? Would I have made the NFL, which was my ultimate dream? where would I be right now? I have no clue. That's for sure. It would not be right here. But I know the adversity has done a lot for me. It's helped me dig deep and learn. I learned my biggest lessons during those moments of adversity. I learned what more about my emotional and mental state than in the good times, right? When things are going great, we don't have to work hard. It's like, yes, this is amazing. But it's when the things that are going wrong or we're struggling with or confusing or adversity, that's when the real us shows up. The real us shows up to say, okay, how do we handle these situations? Do we handle it with grace? Do we get taken down? Do we move forward? Do we like rally around whatever we need to? So who knows where I'd be, but I know I wouldn't be here, and I'm grateful for where I'm at in the moment. That's all I can say.
We have a little less than 10 minutes left with Lewis Howes right here, author of the book, The School of Greatness. You can also check out his podcast by the exact same name. I mean, Lewis has interviewed what? Is it over 100 people already for The School of Greatness?
I think it's about 175, 250, almost 250 episodes, but I've probably interviewed 175 people on them.
All right, let's talk about that in a second. But one thing I guess a lot of people have in common that you've interviewed is they hustle, and you have a full chapter devoted to what hustle is, and not just what it is, but actually how you can do it. I think a lot of people, specifically young people, get hustling wrong. You and I both know that hashtag hustling or hashtag the grind is real isn't hustling. Most people I know who are really hustling don't have time to tell you that they are hustling. Yeah. How do you define?
I define it as going after the loose balls of life. So in sports, I always had a spot on the team, and that one guy always had a spot on the team if he was willing to dive for the loose ball on a basketball court, right? It's like you can't take that away from someone. You cannot take away that passion, that hustle. If they've got it, you want them on your team. You want them supporting you. That's like the difference maker between whether you're going to win the game or you're going to lose, by having that hustle. If you're just playing it safe, if you're just like doing just enough, you're going to get just enough results. But when you commit to hustling and you compound it over time, you know, 1 week of it, 1 month of it is not enough. When you compound it over years, you're going to build some incredible momentum in your life, your business, your relationships, whatever it may be, by adding that much value over time and doing whatever it takes to make the result happen for yourself over time. I think a lot of people say, you know, I'm just going to work hard for a little bit, then I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore. But when we have a big vision, when we're committed to our vision and it's big enough, we are willing to do the work over and over and over again because we love it and we're so excited about our vision. It's when we're not excited about our vision, that's when the hustling feels like a grind. That's when it feels stressful and overwhelming, and it's like, is this worth it? It's not going to be worth it if you have a vision that's not powerful. So that's why it starts with vision, and then it doesn't feel like hustle. It just feels like, of course, I'll do whatever it takes because I love this. This is the life that I want. This is the business I want, and I'm committed to it. So that's what the hustle is about.
Let's take another question. And if you have a question, all you got to do is go on the right side of the screen, putting / question and write your question. We'll get to as many of those as we can in these last 5 minutes or so. This is a cool question. Earlier, you mentioned, Lewis, that as it relates to handball, you're not sure whether or not you're going to continue to pursue that. Right now, your Olympics is your book, The School of Greatness, which came out yesterday. So this is a great question. From Evan W., given where you are with handball and having to decide whether it's a priority going forward, what advice do you give to those who may have to quit something to achieve their vision, right? Sometimes the biggest things, like, Seth Godin writes about this a lot, is what do you need to stop doing?
It's interesting because I'm almost kind of grateful. In some ways, I'm grateful that we didn't qualify for the Olympics. It's hard for me to say that right now, but I'm kind of grateful because I would have been pulled with something that would take away from my book. And at the end of the day, like, the book was coming out and I wanted to give it its full attention and not just like scramble, because I'd be training full time right now for the Olympics if I was doing that. So I was almost kind of like leaving it up to the universe. I was like, I hope we qualify. Like, I'm going to give my all and leave it on the table and see what happens. And then I'll be guided to go which way. But since we didn't qualify, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to give it all my energy into this and make the most out of that. You know, we can only have so much energy throughout the day. So that's why some entrepreneurs specifically, they try to do too many things at once, and you can't make something great without giving it your full attention for at least a period of time. Then once you build up the momentum, you have a system in place and a team in place, you can let it run and grow. But you've got to put your energy into something for a period of time. And if you have a big dream, that's going to take energy and time. So what I would say for those that have to move forward on whether it's a priority or not is to do what calls to you in the moment. You know, again, for me, in the moment, this book is the most important thing. And handball, it's kind of like I haven't trained in 6 or 7 months, and I'm putting it on the back burner for now to see after this if I want to reevaluate and take a moment at it. So maybe don't think about it as like I have to let it all go forever, but just like, okay, let me put it on the back burner and see if I miss it. Sometimes taking time away from our vision or a dream, we'll see if we're still thinking about it a lot, if it's still calling us forward. Or if it's not calling us forward, then maybe it's not important anymore.
It's a great answer. People are really applauding you and the transparency you give in your answers. And one thing I've always known about you, dude, is that you keep it 100, as they say. You keep it real. As we wind down here in the last couple of minutes, man, something you talk about in the last chapter of your book, I believe it's the last chapter, is living a life of service. And, you know, the very first time you and I met, when we reached out and we had a cup of coffee, when you don't drink coffee, I don't think, but when we met in New York City for just a meet and greet years ago when we both were living there.
Was this in
I
New
remember
York?
walking away. This is New York, man. We both were still living there.
I thought it was in LA for some reason. Oh.
Must have been, we met here too, but it must have been 2011, I believe. We met in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember walking away from that time with you, and I'm a professional question asker. I consider myself that, but I remember walking away from that like, wow, Lewis just did what I normally do. You made it all about me. And I remember walking away from our conversation feeling, 5 feet taller. And you're not I wouldn't call you a selfish dude by no means. You do live a life of service. You give to your friends, you give to others. You at the end of every podcast, you acknowledge that individual you've interviewed for making that time, that hour plus to spend time with you. So you talk about the importance, Lewis, of living a life of service and
yeah, living a life of service is essentially acknowledging that it's a gift that we are alive. It's a gift that we are here. And this world is available for us. It is a gift for us to breathe and experience. Without the earth, without the people here, we would not be able to have the experiences of the life that we have. And so we need to really look into that every single day and say, wow, I am given, like I'm looking out into New York City right now, and I'm been given a gift to experience this body, this world, this life. It's my duty, I believe, to give back to the world, to this experience, to this life, to the people around it who are creating this life with me. And that just means doing good things. That means being thoughtful. This is like very simple. This is not like new. It's just like being a good human being, smiling at people. For me, smiling is living a life of service, opening the door, doing simple, small things, asking questions about other people as opposed to talking about yourself constantly, making it about other people, not making it about you. That's the basic steps that we can all do. But then as we grow into our business or our careers, what's a way we can make a bigger difference and bigger impact? What's in our community, in a charity that we really believe in? Can we start giving back money? Can we start giving back time? What are some things that we can do to serve in a bigger way? A lot of the people that I interview who are multimillionaires, may have billion-dollar companies, all these different things. The richer people that I talk to, they say that the key to their wealth is that they constantly give back money. They're constantly giving it away and serving causes that they believe in. And they believe that that's one of the reasons why they get there is because they're willing to give and come from that place of giving constantly. And I think when we give more to the world and we're living a life of the service, that the world is going to give back to us in one way or another. And it always feels good also when you give, when you live a life of service, it's like the most reward. It's almost like the most selfish thing you give because you get the biggest reward. So.
Yeah, it makes me think about what Zig Ziglar said, and I'm paraphrasing. If you help, you can get everything that you want and more is if you help others get what they want. I believe that. Lewis, so I want to take the time to do what you normally do, man. I want to acknowledge you for taking time for joining us on About Me Live. And, our community really appreciates and loves the works that you do. People can find you on about.me live, about.me/Lewis Howes. And Lewis, just for those folks out there who are interested in the book and the podcast, where else can they go to learn more about the book, podcast, etc.?
The book is at lewishowes.com/book, where you can go right to Amazon, and it'll take you right to the Amazon link there. And you can go to Barnes & Noble. It's in 600 Barnes & Nobles around the country right now. So if you're out and about today, go ahead and check it out, buy a couple copies, and tag me on Instagram if you get a copy at Lewis Howes.
Beautiful. I'm going to go to my local Barnes & Noble, and I'm going to move all your books to the front of the store.
Yes,
I'm going to get gangster with it. If they're not there already. So, hey, man, I know you got a busy schedule. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch up real soon. Continued success.
Thanks, brother. See you, man.